our consideration. It is 8, right? 'Cause last one was 7, I just checked it.
Yeah, it's 8.
Right, okay, it's episode 8. How's it going? As you can see, we are obviously pure prepared and organised as normal. I just had to remind Courtney of the films we're talking about today, but that's okay.
Hey, yeah, I remembered 2.
You remembered half of them, so that's good. I'm Dan. I'm here, Dan, and this is Courtney, and we're recording our podcast. Episode 7. We watched 4 films, and we came on here and we talked about them.
Yep.
And we've watched another 4 films, and now we're here to talk about them.
Because we apparently don't do anything else with our time. That's
apparently the pattern. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I know it's been like a fortnight since we recorded that episode, but still 4 films is quite a lot. Yeah, so the 4 films we've seen, they'll be in the description, so you'll have seen them already. But we saw a movie called The Forgiven, then we saw a movie called 3,000 Years of Longing, and then we've seen See How They Run, and then we've seen Bodies, and quite a lot of variety today, I think, in the movies.
Oh yeah.
There's not any 2 that are the same. So we'll try our best, you know what we're like, but we'll try our best to stick to our usual kind of schedule of like 20 minutes per movie, and I'll put time codes in the description, so if you haven't seen one of these movies you can skip to the next one and stuff. I don't know if there's anything too much to spoil in these movies, but we'll kind of get there as we get there, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll kind of preemptively warn you for each one, but yeah, maybe if you've not seen a movie, just skip to the ones you've seen and skip past the ones you haven't, or if you don't care.
See How They Run will probably be the most spoilery one.
Really? See, that is obviously a whodunit, right? But I'd say that the twist in Bodies was Mary a twist, but we'll get there.
You end up See How They Run, we're going to end up telling them who done it.
Oh yeah.
Which is the whole point.
But
of
you
the
can
film.
see it coming. Right, stop. We'll get there. First movie is not a whodunit. It was The Forgiven.
And you saw
we
who
know
done
whodunit.
Oh my god.
So that was a good joke. That was a good opener for this podcast. So listen, from our standard, that's pretty witty. So
I know, but it's me lowering myself to your standard because we both made the same joke.
Lowering yourself? Oh, I'm the prestige level that you try and get to.
Oh, okay.
As a broadcaster.
Right.
Okay. No, what was I saying? The Forgiven. So, yeah, it's a movie by John Michael Donagh, who is the brother of Mark McDonagh, and he has made other movies in the past, which
I'm sure he has.
I feel like aren't as good as his brothers. Up to you. I mean, I don't think that's like controversial, is it? Like warring everyone and
it's a decent film, but it's not the same.
But The Forgiven, I would say, is his best film so far that I've seen. So yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. It is, what I liked about it was it's a very simple movie. Like there's no big CGI. There's no like big overarching twists. It's about a journey of certain characters that start the movie as a certain thing, and then something happens randomly which changes who they are by the end of the movie, and that's what I liked about it. It was just an interesting character study on how some accidental split second thing can change everything going forward. So yeah, the basic premise is that Ralph Fiennes and Jessica Chastain are this rich London couple. Well, she's American in it, she's doing her own accent, but they are travelling to this big extravagant party full of rich
and you can tell that they're vastly unhappy people.
Yeah.
They're not happy in their
pure
relationship.
Depressed marriage, like he's an alcoholic and she's a failed children's writer, and the two of them just kind of don't like each other, don't speak much, and so they've got this big, but they've got kind of mutual group of friends. Matt Smith and Caleb Landry Jones are this like rich English and one of them's American couple, who own this mansion in Morocco, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. This big fancy gaff with gates and guards and servants and all sorts. And everybody that goes there is kind of a douchebag, but certain ones are worse than others, and certain ones get explored more than others. And the guy that's played by Christopher, can't remember his surname, but he was good in The Sinner.
Oh yeah.
I'll look up his name. He was good. He was a banker from New York, right? and he so it's about Ralph Fiennes and Jessica Chastain both going on their kind of own journeys. On the way to the mansion, because he's drunk and it's dark and whatever, Ralph Fiennes runs over a young boy on the road. We find out more about him as the movie goes on, but runs him over and kills him, and sort of possibly tries to cover it up, but again that kind of gets more uncovered as the movie goes on. And then he brings the boy back to the mansion where Matt Smith's like, what you doing? Why are you bringing a dead loco to my gaff? Like, the police are going to be raging. We need to control that situation, blah, blah, blah. Because that's the thing, even though like they're the kind of rich ones and the other ones that have everything, it's not really their territory. They are still in like foreign territory.
Someone else's country.
So, yes, thingy, Matt Smith was a good pal, I must admit. Like, I wouldn't be a pals like that. He's like, we'll sort this out.
Ray Fiennes says at the start that they're her pals instead of his.
Yeah.
So he does it purely because throughout the film you see obviously they don't like Ray Fiennes' character. Ray Fiennes' character is there purely because he is with her. They only deal with him because they love her.
Yeah, because they're also a gay couple, and he comes across as homophobic, racist, just pure old-fashioned, bigoted.
Yeah, like, he's not a nice person.
Typical rich, narrow-minded white guy, to be honest. But, Christopher Abbott is that guy's name, by the way. So, the police turn up, and Matt Smith deals with them very well, and he's like, do you know what? It's fine. Wee bit of bribe and whatever, I'll sweep it under the rug. Everything's good. Right, cool. See you later. But then the boy's dad turns up, and he's not alright with just getting a wee bribe. He wants Ray Fiennes to go back to their hometown, their village or whatever, and bury the boy, because that's tradition apparently in those parts, that the person that done it has to be at the funeral. And at first he's like, I'm not going. And then we'll get into the decision of why he changes his mind a wee minute, but I like how kind of almost like split decision that was. And that totally changes the course of the movie. So, long story short, he goes with the family with the father and an escort, who's the guy from Wonder Woman. And again, I'll get his name because he was really good at that. He was a standout. We'll go through all the cast. Said Taghmaoui. Yeah, he was very good. He's real good. So, yeah, they go in this like Jeep, this Humvee thing, like a way out into like no man's land. Like, there's no landmarks, there's no Google Maps, there's no internet signal, like
in the desert.
And he's quite prepared. Well, I don't know if he's prepared, but I think the rest of them are all quite prepared for him not to come back. Like Jessica Chastain especially, and even Matt Smith to some extent. They're all kind of talking like, "Are we going to see him again?" And so he disappears, and Jessica Chastain basically has an affair with Chris Rabbitt's character, and kind of you feel like she kind of found herself again. And then at the end of the movie, we'll get to the end of the movie, but he comes back.
You've taken a very long time to explain this movie.
Yeah, that's the gist, but what I'm saying is it's a basic kind of movie with like just good character arcs. What did you like about it?
Jesus Christ. So I absolutely loved this film. I honestly think it might be one of the best films I've seen in the last 5 years, and I mean just this year.
See, I liked it, but I think you liked it more. Why did you like it so much?
It gave me such a... It felt like an old movie. And obviously it was supposed to, because with the layout at the start of the film, all of the credits come up at the start of the film the way that they used to weird old movies.
Yeah. And there's nothing at the end, just the end.
And then, again, with just how simple... It was pure simple elegance for this full film for me, I think. And I think the simplicity of it and how well it was done, and I'm going to say basic, but I don't mean basic because basic can be construed as bad, but it took everything right back. There was no flashes, there was no like anything to take away from it. It was just purely an actor's movie. See, you're watching it as an actor, it was just a pure display of sheerly brilliant acting from every single person in it. I loved it, and I genuinely found myself sitting about maybe halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way through the film going, this might be one of the best films I've ever seen.
Wow.
I loved it. I loved the story again because it was so simple, but there was also still so much tension.
But it was all, even though it was simple, it was stylish.
Yes.
Like, there was a style to it.
Absolutely.
Even though
it was
simple,
super
like, it wasn't
stylish.
just like straight ahead. It was.
There was a good bit of tension through it. There was sexiness through it, but it was like that old-fashioned sexiness. It was like the type of sexiness you would get for Cary Grant or someone that bled through this film, I think, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought Jessica Chastain completely knocked it out of the park, especially with the purely almost raw, and again I'm saying simple but I can't think of a better word, the scene after she has slept with Christopher Abbott's character, where she goes into the bathroom and she's still got a bit of makeup on, she's got a bit of a love bite on her, and she looks a bit in a state, but she looks alive. Like, when you see her, she looks from at this up until almost kind of up until he leaves. When Rufine leaves, she's very meek. She's very, oh, whatever you want. Oh yeah, we'll just go with whatever you want. You can tell that she's kind of lost her fire and her strength a wee bit as a woman, I think. And then, not that I'm saying that affairs do this too, because affairs are bad. But
in this particular case.
In this particular case, she's obviously a woman that's vastly unhappy in her marriage. Like, her husband is horrific. She's not. Her life hasn't went the way that she wanted it to. Her life hasn't went the way that Matt Smith's has, where he has someone that loves him, and he's got this lavish life. And even though she's got the lavishness in her life, it's not the same. She's not got the same contentment as what he's got.
Yeah, sure.
And I think she gets a wee bit of her fire back, she gets a wee bit of her wild side back again, and you just kind of see that purely in her body language, and she just looks at herself in the mirror and she goes, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that scene, I don't know why, but that scene stuck with me, and I thought she done a brilliant job of that.
I agree, she was great in the movie. I would say though her arc is more kind of, you can see it coming a lot more. Like, her arc's more straightforward and more kind of like she's not happy with her husband, so she gets with another younger, more attractive guy, and then she gets a bit of her spark back. Like, that's kind of like by the numbers. Whereas I think with Ray Fiennes' arc, it's a bit more. I found myself going like, why did he make that decision? And not in a bad way, not like, oh, that character's dumb for making that decision, but like, why did that character decide to go this way? So like, he first runs the boy over, he goes back to the house, they have the discussion about what they're going to do with the body and what they're going to do with family. The dad turns up, and at first he's like, absolutely no way. He's like, I'm not going back with these savages. Like, he at one point even said they could be ISIS for all we know. Like, he's got this pure, like, what do you call it, like stereotypical kind of prejudice just rooted within him. And then there's a certain moment that the dad as well, he was brilliant. I think it has that guy's name, Ismail Kanator. He plays the boy's father, and a lot of his acting isn't in English until a certain point in the movie where there's a slight twist and you realise he can't speak English.
That was a good bit.
But see, it didn't. I think that's for me is always a mark of a great actor. Like Giancarlo Esposito can do it, and what's him that was the dad in Shang-Chi? I can't remember his name. But there's certain actors that it doesn't matter what language they're speaking or what language they're acting in, you're getting all the emotion and all the performance. Even if it doesn't matter for subtitles, it doesn't matter if you can understand what they're saying. You feel what they're saying because their emotions and their expressions and their movements, and I think that's, for me, that's really the mark of a great actor, that can act in any language and any context. So that's the thing, if you had to want to be a chameleon and be able to play any role, but to be able to play more than one character from completely different sides of the world, that's like a step up for me. Like, it's one thing playing somebody from London and then playing somebody from New York. They're both big, rich, white cities. Whereas if you can play someone from, like, do you know what I mean? Like him from Shang-Chi, totally different character in that movie than it was in like the Hong Kong kind of action movies that he did.
Yeah.
Like Internal Affairs and stuff. Like, those are a totally different tone. I don't know. I really admire that in certain actors. That guy nails it, and
it was excellent.
There's a certain look that he exchanges with Ray Fiennes, And even though, like I'm saying, you're kind of getting across the general emotion of what he's feeling, what is interesting and what I think they did a good job of, they actually took advantage of the fact that there was a language barrier, because there is a slight part of both Ralph Fiennes and I think the audience questioning, is that grief or anger? Is he going to cry or is he going to tear his head off? Like, there's certain points where you're not quite sure. You can tell he's distraught, but you can't tell exactly if it's like he's really pissed off or if he's just really upset, or like there's a bit of ambiguity in it, but it's very purposeful.
Like, grief could take you either way.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, and this man gets his grief across
But,
so well.
but that's the thing, it's not like over the top showy,
No,
it's
it's
still
not.
subtle, which makes it realistic.
Because when he first turns up, he's a very, very quiet, the whole way through he's a very quiet man.
Which makes him more mysterious.
Which, and builds the tension, and you're kind of like, are they taking him back to this village to kill him? Because they would have every right to. And I kind of wanted them to.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point, I think.
And then when you see him in that heartbreaking scene, when he's sitting on his own and he's just bawling.
Yeah.
And he's sitting at like the grave where they've buried his son, and he is just distraught, and there's tears, and he's genuinely.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. And you could look at that and go, that is a man that's lost his son.
Mm.
He was so believable and absolutely, knockout. It was so good.
What I also think, though, speaking about good performances, that's maybe Ralph Fiennes' performance. There's a certain scene where he's still contemplating, and he's literally 5 minutes before just said these people could be ISIS. He's been like pure this horrible, narrow-minded, typical millionaire guy, and then in the next moment he looks at the dad, and I think the dad's looking at his boy's body, and Ralph Fiennes, in his eyes, something changes. And again, I think there's certain things like that that actors are able to do. I think Elizabeth Moss is really good at it, and
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale, that without saying anything, they can just do something with their face that gives you a bit of backstory, or like at least plants the seed for backstory. Because see, when he done that, I don't know what it was. I think this is my theory watching it. I think Ralph Fiennes' character, when he seen that, was thinking about his own relationship with his dad, and I think that's what made him change his mind. And they don't even mention Ralph Fiennes' character's dad, but just the way that he sees a father look at his son and something in his eyes changes, that's what I related to. I was like, he's thinking about his dad there. So, and that's quality acting.
I definitely see, obviously there was the massive change with him, like, going through the whole film, but I think it goes back to, like, he's a GP, he's a doctor, right? And obviously, with most doctors, I'm not saying all, but with most doctors, they get to a certain age where it's just about the money, and they're a bit bitter, and they're a bit done.
You forget why they started what to help.
And I think he gets to a point where he kind of goes back to that. Because he is someone, he's someone who primarily at the start of his career got into a career to help people. That's what doctors do. So I feel like he's seen this situation and he's managed to get a look into these people, and it strips him back to that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
He's never really had that kind of feeling for quite a long time. And I feel like it reminds him of those kind of feelings of when he initially wanted to actually help people. Because you hear him talking about his patients like kind of towards the start of the film, and it's they're this and they're that, and it's the usual, and like how ridiculous they are to be unwell or whatever. And then by like the end, or by the time that he's finished dealing with these people, he's got a whole different look on them, I think, and I think that's kind of what I seen coming forward with him.
Well, like I said, the guy in the film has a whole arc that he goes through, because by the end he is sympathetic towards the locals, and the movie does a good job of like the way that I don't know. I like seeing all the different perspectives, because I think the easy perspective to be would be to be like, okay, these guys are the rich white kind of douchebags, but they're our kind of main characters, so that's what we're following. But there were certain scenes, one scene in particular, where one of the kind of main security guards for the complex is having a fag or a cigar with another guy, and they're speaking, and it really gives you a glimpse into like how the help would have a conversation away from the house owners. And it, because again, you talk about tension, there's this also, I feel like there's this brewing tension every time that like they speak about these people as if they aren't there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Or they speak about them as if they're objects, or like, you know, they're not people.
And I seen an interview with Jessica Chastain and think it might have been Matt Smith.
Right.
But they had said how they've been in situations with people, and obviously they didn't name names, but obviously they've been to a lot of parties in a lot of different places with famous friends and people.
Yeah.
And that is where they have drawn that from. Like, quite often, no matter who the help is, they get spoken about like they're not there.
Yeah.
And rude comments get made about them in front of them, and it is horrific.
It's like, what they're going to do. I'm the millionaire here.
Yeah, and that's what Jessica Chastain had said in the interview. It was just a wee kind of small thing I'd seen on Instagram. But she had been like, we've been witness to these disgusting habits. She's like, it's something that I very consciously try and not do with anyone. She was like, but that then helped me channel that into my performance. And Matt Smith was like, you know, I'm the exact same. He was like, obviously he said him and Caleb had to kind of take it another step further. He was like, but that was a really hard part of that for me. He kept apologising to them like when they finished the scenes and stuff.
It did. I think I said this at the time and after it reminded, there was a certain character in it that reminded, that I think was maybe like Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know, like, see the older sleazy guy?
Yeah.
I feel like he was an Epstein anecdote, and it reminded me of that sort of, the stories that you hear about that island, and again the way the staff, again a lot of foreign staff like Mexican and Hispanic staff were treated like second rate, like they had a set of rules to follow and they couldn't go in certain places after certain times, and you very much get a vibe from this place in this film. Although the owners, I don't feel like Matt Smith and Caleb Andrew Jones characters felt like the worst.
No, but
there was
that's the
guests
whole
that were there
point,
that were
I
worse
think.
than the
Yeah,
hosts.
that's the whole point of it, I think, is to show that not everybody in these situations are culpable or to blame, but there is also a level of responsibility there into who you let into your circle.
Yeah, totally.
And there's sometimes, and like you see in the film, they don't want that man there. He turns up later and they're like, oh god, he's here.
That's right.
And it just happens to be who falls into your circle or who your circle falls into. Do you know what I mean?
And then I think there's also a lot of like, you need to please certain people when you're at that level of rich and famous.
Totally.
Like, you've got rich pals,
and I think they got
happy
that across really well.
and stuff. It was an interesting movie because it was about several things. It was about like humanity and death and family, but it was also about like the class divides and like rich and poor, and it was also and it's also super stylish, like the lighting, the cinematography.
Very sexy film.
There was a bit of comedy in it, like out of nowhere, which I think that's why I like this movie out of all of John Michael McDonagh's films. This one's the most serious that I've seen. The rest of them are all more comedy. There was only slightly touched of comedy in here, but I feel like it actually was really effective.
Really well balanced.
Because the point that I'm mostly thinking about was the point where the dad and the chauffeur guy, Said Tagmawi, are bringing the boy's body out to the car, and Matt Smith and Caleb Landry Jones just so happened to order fireworks for that exact moment. So they're bringing his son's body out and putting it in the car, and the fireworks start going off, and the dad just looks up, and I think Caleb Landry Jones looks at Matt Smith, and Matt Smith goes, oops, like that. Yeah. And it's this moment where you're laughing, but you're like, oh gosh, sure, you're laughing. Like, I feel so bad for it. And it's that sort of comedy. It's not like goofy comedy, it's kind of like comedy that's got a commentary behind it, that you're like, I'm laughing, but am I part of the problem if I'm laughing? Like, this is a person that's died. Like, yeah, it's good. It kind of make you think and kind of question your own privilege and stuff.
I love this one. Out of the ones that we're talking about today, I think it's very easy to say that this is my favourite.
Is it?
Definitely.
We'll speak about that at the end. What one was our favourite? I really liked The Forgiven. So before we move on from Forgiven, what would you score it?
10.
10?
It's a 10.
Perfect 10.
It's a perfect film for me, I think. I have really thought about it because, like, obviously giving it a 10 is a big deal.
Yeah.
But the more I think about this film, the more it just makes me want to give it a 10. The more I feel like it deserves it.
Good.
I loved it.
I feel like I need to rewatch it because...
Oh, I'd love to rewatch it.
Because I think when I seen it and we came out, in my mind it was a 9. I'm now thinking it's maybe dropped to an 8, but I don't know why, so I don't feel like I can say it's an 8.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with a 9 for now, but I want to rewatch it and cement that.
I'm just interested to know, from your point of view, what doesn't make it a 10? What makes it not a perfect film?
it's a bit. I know the whole point is not the destination; it's the journey. I think with this movie, but even though it's only a 2-hour movie, I feel like there's certain parts. See, I feel like we're saying this. I would say I feel like there's certain parts that are a bit slow, but I feel like they kind of need to be slow in order to execute that final message at the end. So it earns its ending through those slower scenes, but when I was watching it, there was certain scenes that I felt were a wee bit drawn out.
Okay, so kind of almost felt its length a wee bit for you?
Yeah, it didn't feel too long, but it felt its length, yeah. But
whereas it didn't feel its length for me at all.
But sort of in a good way, because it needed to be like that.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, I don't know, I'll watch it again and kind of decide.
Oh, I'd love to watch it again.
Yeah, no, it was great, I really enjoyed it. Anything else to say about The Forgiven before we move on?
No, I think I got across my enjoyment of it. I really loved it.
I would recommend it too. Whether you're a fan of like the McDonagh brothers or not, it's just an interesting movie, and I think it's an interesting movie to watch from different perspectives, like from different financial backgrounds and different racial backgrounds and different. I feel like this movie might mean something different to everybody that sees it. It's one of those films that I think the perspective that you bring into it might change your experience watching it. I think that would be quite interesting.
That would be interesting.
Okay, so let's move on to our next movie, which was 3,000 Years of Longing.
Oh, and it felt 3,000 years long.
Wow. Wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was bits of it that I did enjoy. I
thought you quite enjoyed it.
It was okay. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
It was a bit...
What do you mean by that?
It was a bit draggy. It was a bit... That felt its length for me.
Right.
I felt like it kind of went on a wee bit and nothing much really happened. Like, I enjoyed Idris Elba's performance and I loved how this went and she was also very good. But... Oh, there was just bits in it that I just felt were so unneeded. Like, the bit with our crappy neighbours, like, that was so random. And again, nothing really happened. It was a nice ending, it was sad, but nice.
So the reason that I was questioning you saying I wasn't what you thought it was going to be, I feel the same.
I thought it was going to be a faster pace and I thought it was going to be funnier.
I thought it was going to be madder. I was going to expecting balls out madness.
Same.
See, for the trailer, I was expecting something along the lines of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Me too.
In terms of its snappy pace, weird shit happening in every scene, and at the end you kind of digest it all. That was kind of what I thought this movie would be.
At no point at Everywhere All at Once was I bored. There was a couple of times in this film I felt like I was bored. Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a really good movie, but it was interesting. I feel like George Miller has a weird mind, and I think that when there's a creator like that, like Guillermo del Toro or Hideo Kojima or whoever it is, I like just seeing their mad shit be put in a film or a game or a story, right? And I feel like George Miller, after doing Mad Max, he wanted to do something weird, and I'm glad he got to do this, but I feel like he might have even restrained himself a bit with this at certain it
points.
didn't seem that weird.
Right, other than the big fat naked woman, it was kind of... And then the guy's head turned into a spider, that was cool. But it was all a bit... Like, those scenes were very spread apart though. Like, I thought it would be like mad spider scene, big fat weird naked woman, and then something out, like, constant, like, weird shit. And it's kind of like... So, so the basic premise is, it's a modern day retelling of Aladdin, kind of, well,
not really.
Loosely.
Not at all.
It's about a genie. It's about a djinn.
That's the only similarity.
She finds a vase in Istanbul.
It's a genie.
Idris Elba was a genie, and what I thought was interesting about it did feel like a conversation that maybe writers were having that they wrote down and turned into a film, because the part about like what story have you ever in the movie, Tilda Swinton as a storyteller, so obviously she's like a surrogate for...
That was nice. I like the layout of that, how she started off telling the story and then turned it into the book at the end.
She's also a surrogate for like George Miller or like whatever screenwriter, like so she asked Idris Elba, she's like, listen, you being the genie, you being the expert here, can you give me an example of a time where someone hasn't regretted the wish they made? And then when he tells her every story, it tells her every time she's like,
a cautionary tale.
So that is kind of what the movie is. It's kind of like segments of that while these two have a conversation in a hotel room for the first half.
So.
And it maybe longer than that. Because
There's
like 3 main stories that he tells her, I think, and then she leaves the hotel room, and then we kind of see what happens to her character at the end.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton are both phenomenal actors. Like both of them are, I at the minute, top of their game, and I kind of wish we spent more time with them. I feel like those two. I don't know why. Every time we cut away from them, I was like, oh, I want to see more of them and their dynamics.
No, I liked. The favourite bits for me were the flashbacks.
Were they?
Yeah. I did like their chemistry. They had very nice chemistry.
Mm.
But no, I found it very boring. But it was, I don't want to make a wish, but I need you to make a wish. Oh, but what happens if I don't make a wish? Okay, let me tell you a story. No, I still don't want to make a wish, but I need you to make a wish. Right, okay, let me tell you another story. Right, but I still don't want to make a wish. And it was just so... And I'm like, oh, for God's sake. I'm like, just wish for like £1 million or something. Like, get it over with. Like, it's fine. But then, obviously, they're in love by the end.
It's quite I think that's quite an interesting concept. The fact that it's like a paradox. She wishes, because even though she's herself and she's a widow, she keeps telling herself that she doesn't need anything. She's quite happy being on her own. And then, obviously, when the truth comes out deep down, she does want to have someone for company. So she wishes that he would be in love with her, but then she realises that kind of undoes itself, because you can't wish someone else is like that has to be like natural and earned and stuff, and it can't just be like a snap of the fingers thing. So
and then him being in love with her and not wanting to stay makes him start to like decay and die. Yeah. So then he keeps having to go away and then come back. So he goes away and comes back, and in the end, that's kind of how the film ends. Is that he occasionally visits, and she spends the rest of her life missing him and things. And it's sad and it's nice. And I thought the ending was lovely. Like, I wasn't mad at the ending, and I felt like it earned its ending. Mm-hmm. But like all the stuff like in her house in between, I kept expecting something to happen, and the whole way through, I kept expecting something to happen. Mm-hmm. And then when like that dramatic music is happening and she finds him all like crispy and all that, I was like, right, something's gonna happen now. And then it didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And I was like, oh, right, okay. He's just going away now. Right, okay, that's fine. So like, no, there was definitely sloggy bits for me. I really enjoyed all of the flashback bits, but what felt quite disjointed for me is I feel like they wanted to go more mental. And then I feel like they would have maybe had a bank of all this mental stuff. And a storyline that could have followed all this mental stuff. And then they also had a bank of all the nice stuff. And the storyline that was going to follow all the nice stuff between Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton. And that was fine. And then I feel like they started to kind of put wee bits of the weird stuff into the nice story, and then they kind of forgot about the weird story. Because like at the start, when she first turns up at the airport, the wee freaky bald person is like, me.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, oh, right, here we go. We're going to go into like American Horror Story type weird here. Cool. I'm down for this. And then that didn't happen. And then she's at the conference thing that she's doing, and then the guy in the white is sitting looking, and I'm like, right, okay. And so then I thought when she was going to like deal with Idris Elba and deal with the djinn and everything, she was going to have some sort of a connection to that world or something.
Okay.
And that's why the bottle chose her.
Right.
And she get the djinn, because there was going to be some sort of fight or something happening with all these mystical creaturey things that were following her, because she had something in her that was going to be like a connection.
Right. I never got into that.
And neither did I, because it didn't happen.
So she's like Neo, kind of like the Matrix?
Yeah,
like.
So that's kind of what I thought. I was like, right, so that's how she's seen all these people, because it would have been really weird for her just to have been randomly picked. But then she was.
I guess it's like the message that life is random, I guess.
And I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I didn't need like a big destiny thing like to it all. Like she was the chosen one. I didn't need any of that.
I didn't need it. I just thought
that's what it's going.
Yeah. So I now kind of feel like the big white spooky guy that was all white and the wee creepy baldy thing.
What was the point?
I feel like they were just kind of, oh, let's chuck them in, because that'll make it
that's
a bit more
weird. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That doesn't feel earned.
That makes it feel a bit more surface level, those particular scenes.
That doesn't feel earned to me.
I agree with that.
There's definitely really nice bits, and I mean, both of their acting was brilliant. They were really good, and their chemistry was excellent, and you really felt that he was in love with her by the end, when he was meant to be, and I mean, Idris Elba just comes out a bottle. You're gonna wish for him to be in love with you. So, all of that, I buy all of that. And that was all fine, but I just feel like there was a couple of wee boring bits. It could have been vamped up a wee bit, and it could have been weirder.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as quirky as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was. For me, it was a good movie. Like, you could tell it was a well-made movie made by a filmmaker that knows what they're doing, has been doing it for a long time. But I wish they'd just done more with it. That was my thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough of. Like, it was a bit of kind of surface level weird stuff, and then they don't really go as far with it as you're hoping they will. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Summed up for me, really.
Yeah, that's pretty much this movie. I don't know. We've only spoken about it for about just over 10 minutes, but I don't know what else to say about it.
I thought like some of the supporting cast were real good. I thought her that played the Queen of Sheba was actually beautiful.
Strange.
She was
they
a
didn't have much to
crazy,
do. I didn't feel like
good-looking person. But yeah,
really. Swinton and Elba were the anchor of the movie, and
Totally.
I think those two done a great job. It was a good display of their acting. Like I said, it was just a shame for me, I thought, when you get taken away for those two. But I feel like it was a movie that, like George Miller kind of had to make, and obviously there was a lot of like interesting parallels to like the real world and like how you feel about, I don't know, like wishes and love and like having what you want as opposed to not having anything or whatever. Special effects were cool. I liked like Idris Elba's kind of look.
Yeah. And when he was big and he shrunk down small.
I liked the visual effects were interesting.
And then when she's walking around the house looking for him, you can tell that it's his presence that's fallen or those wee specks. I thought they got that across really well.
Yeah, it was a good looking film, I think. It was an interesting looking film, but I just feel like there could be more interesting stuff to look at in between the interesting stuff that is in here. Like, they needed more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you rate it?
I go 7.
A 7? Okay.
I was maybe going to say a 6, but I feel like that's a wee bit harsh.
I'm between a 6 or 7. But I actually feel like I enjoyed this movie possibly more than you, which is make me think I need to go with a 7. So yeah, let's go with 7.
Okay, that's fair.
I
didn't not enjoy it. It just wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And from the trailers and how weird it was kind of promised this movie was going to be, I kind of feel like I'm still waiting for that movie to some extent.
Yeah.
Whereas The Forgiven kind of delivered more on its promise, I think.
And I don't know if I maybe enjoyed that so much because I didn't really know what to... Like, I kind of went in blind to that film. Mm-hmm. Whereas I kind of had more of an expectation.
Yeah, you see more trailers and stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, no, out of the two of them, like, it's a knockout. Like,
I would watch The Forgiven again before I'd watch 3,000 Years of Longing again. Yeah, so we'll move on to our third film. We also see how they run. Seen how they run. I don't know, there's a joke there. We saw this movie called See How They Run.
If you have to work that hard for it, I don't know what it is.
It is a whodunit movie inspired by the works of like Agatha Christie and stuff, but it's also
actively Agatha Christie.
No, but it's also inspired as a film by Wes Anderson. I thought a great deal. Yeah,
I've
seen a big Wes Anderson influence. It wasn't. He had nothing to do with it. It was written by.
No, but I said that to you in the car.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said that to you in the car.
Yeah, I feel like we had this discussion. I thought I maybe dreamt it.
Because I compared it to Budapest.
Yes, but I remember. What I remember thinking was, this is kind of gave me the Wes Anderson kick I was looking for from French Dispatch. I kind of thought that French Dispatch would be like a spiritual successor to Grand Budapest, and this was more like a spiritual successor to that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This kind of gave me that craving that I didn't get for, as much as I kind of like French Dispatch.
I did not like French Dispatch.
I wouldn't watch it again, and I don't think it didn't give us that kind of satisfaction. But anyway, See How They Run. So it's It's a period piece, and it is led by Sam Rockwell playing an English detective, which is interesting.
That accent was questionable.
Yeah, but again, what was the movie we were speaking about recently now? The one on the train, Bullet Train. There's question mark accents in that, but again, with this and with Bullet Train, I feel like in certain types of movies, you don't, it doesn't matter as much, you don't need to nail it as much, and there's a certain comedy in it not being as great.
Yeah, I agree.
I really liked this movie, but I want to hear your thoughts first. What did you think of Sarah Dillon?
I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I thought it was just such good fun. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought, you say it was led by Sam Rockwell?
No, sorry, I didn't get to finish that statement. And Saoirse Ronan.
Yes. I would say Saoirse Ronan completely steals this film.
100%.
She is hilarious.
100%.
Like,
and it's not easy to steal a scene for Sam Rockwell.
No,
because he's
it's
a
not.
big, funny actor.
And their chemistry worked really, really well. He was quite more muted than what he usually is in this film. But I feel like he done that so that she could just take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And she
see how they
so see, it just comes naturally to me. I don't need to try. Yeah, no, she does. She just completely takes off with this film. Like, I found myself holding myself with how much I was laughing at this film. Just our timing and the wee quirks that she does and everything in this is genius acting. Genius.
I'm going to say something possibly controversial because I know that she is a very beloved actor. I've always liked Saoirse Ronan. I've never really seen why people hold her up, kind of like Timothée Chalamet. Why they get held up to this high prestige. Like, she's been Oscar nominated more than... She won an Oscar for that Belfast one, right? Or Brooklyn, was it? She was nominated anyway, and she was nominated for Lady Bird. So she's had all this buzz. She's kind of held up to one of these kind of brilliant young actors. And although I've always liked her and enjoyed her in things, I've never been blown away by her personally. She blew me away in this film with her comedy. I didn't expect it going in, and like you said, she stole every single scene.
She was so quick and it came across with just such ease. And again, she really embodied this person.
Yeah.
And it was quite a sad character.
Yeah, Stalker was.
She's a very sad character.
Yeah.
And she's kind of looking at Sam Rockwell for just a bit of guidance and a wee bit of a kind of comfort blanket in a time where she's not really got anything like that. Like, we find out throughout the film that she's a widow, her husband died in the war. We then also see that she's got 2 kids that she leaves with her mum to go and be a policewoman. And everything's really quite sad, and then there's the scene where he says he's going to the dentist and he goes into the pub and she's just hit with such disappointment, and she got that disappointment across so almost beautifully. Like, she got it across with, again, that acting with just her face, and you just seen her just drop, and you could see that she was like,
deflated.
it's another kick in the gut for me.
Yeah.
But then straight back into being really funny.
Yeah.
At no point did she kind of dwell on it, and you kind of got across that that's how this character was as a person.
That's how she copes.
She's not someone to dwell. She's someone to just kind of keep going, right, no, what's next? Right, no, right, we're over that. Right, okay, that happened, but that happened, so let's go, what's next?
Yeah.
So she's very resilient, and she gets that across really well with the use of her comedy.
Yeah.
It's never cheap.
No.
There was no cheap comedy in it. Everything was earned. Everything was genuinely belly laughter style funny.
See, that's the thing as well, and I think this is a compliment to the actor. The only joke that I felt was a bit tropey, like I've seen it before, was the part where Richard Attenborough's missus comes into the room and she goes, "Oh, detectives, you got me, it's me, I did that, I'm the murderer." And she goes to arrest her, and Sam Rockwell has to say, "Calm down." That joke on paper has been done before, but Saoirse Ronan just steps into it so well and so like naturally, without missing a beat, that it's hilarious. Like, her performance in that scene makes up for the slightly lazy joke writing. Like, she makes an old joke seem fresh and funny and new, and you still, even though you've heard that joke a million times before, you still laugh at it because of her.
It was so funny. Like,
But like that's been done in like Scary Movie. Do you know what I mean? Like that joke's been done, but she sells it.
And she's got such conviction. She's like, right, and she goes to get it.
Yeah.
No, that was one of the best bits in the movie for me.
It was, and it shouldn't have been because it's a lazy joke, but she made it one of the best.
I nearly choked on my popcorn at that bit. She was brilliant.
Sam Rockwell was good too as Inspector Stoppard. I thought he really. I said you did this after, and you've not seen the Naked Gun movies, but he really put me in mind of like Frank Drebin from the Naked Gun and from the Squad.
Kind of slapstick.
With the fact that he can't drive, like every time he pulls up, he knocks over a bin. Like, and yeah, the way he just kind of like flounders, and yeah, I suppose the difference is between this cop and like Frank Drebin, and I guess the other comparison, Frank Drebin took a lot from Clouseau from the Pink Panther movies.
Oh, right.
And that sort of bumbling detective. The difference with Sam Rockwell's character in this is, although he's like Clouseau and like Frank Drebin, you can tell he's a good cop.
Yeah.
Down, or at least he used to be.
He's not very. He's not bumbling as such. It's a bit more. It's a bit darker. There's a darkness.
Yeah, totally.
Because he's not just a bad driver. Like he's driving drunk.
Because he's pissed.
Because he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then again, you see.
Yeah, he's definitely darker than those kind of more goofy characters.
And you see him like when it shows you like what they do when they go home. I thought that was a really nice touch. It really got you into the characters, and I really appreciated that scene.
When she put him to bed?
No, when he goes home and he's making his jigsaws.
Yeah.
And he's cutting the jigsaw pieces out of the pieces of wood.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a hobby, he's got a craft, he's got something that... But then you see him being like... He's so deflated that he's like, no, I can't even do this. Like, all I can think about is the day that he's had, like, solving the case and being with her and stuff. And it was great. Adrian Brody was also very good in this film.
Adrian Brody was great. He was a total douchebag, but that was the role and he nailed it.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
I love the way that his narration broke the fourth wall at the start. He's like, you've seen one whodunit, you've seen them all. And that, I feel like for me, that's why we were speaking at the start briefly about the twist in this movie. I guess spoilers for this point on. The twist, I don't really know if you can say it's a twist. I don't even know if the movie would call it a twist, because Adrian Brody says that line at the start. You've seen one whodunit, you've seen them all. The most obnoxious character dies at the start, and then
it was very meta.
And then there's a red herring halfway through, which there was in this, where you're led to think it's someone else and it's not. And then the kind of quiet but menacing character at the end is the one that really done it. And then at the very end, it will explain why in a big grand plan. And that's exactly what happened in the movie. And the fact that Adrian Brody addressed that going in, I feel like that really did take the twist out of it. But because this movie was the way it was, and it was kind of a satire and a parody of that genre, I didn't need that twist.
No.
It wasn't like Knives Out or
it
something
wasn't,
where you're like, or like the Poirot movies.
I don't think it was necessarily a twist,
like,
but it's all like it was the whole trope on the fact that it's always the butler.
Yeah.
And it was the steward.
Yeah, the usher.
Who was the butler at the party.
Yeah.
Like, and I liked the balls of this film because I liked how meta it was.
Yeah, and the bit with David DeLeo when he was talking about flashbacks. I hate flashbacks. What's lazy screenwriter uses flashbacks? And this scene as a flashback.
And a flashback.
And then he's like, next thing you know, the screen's going to come up, say 3 weeks later, and then it came up 3 weeks later. On the screen, like, yeah.
So no, it definitely knew what it was. It knew what it wanted to be, and I liked that. I thought that was real fun. The fact that they take it from the most famous whodunit with a mousetrap, and that it's a whole scandal surrounding the mousetrap, and that the mousetrap's based on a real story, and then obviously this is also then based on like a real play and real events, and Richard Attenborough's in it, and stuff, and like Richard Attenborough was in the mousetrap.
Is that the boy from 1917?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
No.
No.
Is it 1917? No, is it not The King's Man?
You're
or
right.
is he in both?
He's in The King's Man. No, I don't think he is in 1979. You're right. It's The King's Man.
King's Man. I think he's his son.
But he was good in this. I liked him as Richard Attenborough.
With Ralph Fiennes?
That's Ralph Fiennes.
Well,
The King's Man. That's right. King's Man was a bad movie though.
That wasn't good.
That movie.
No.
But he was
much
great
better
as
than
Richard Attenborough. Yeah, and I liked the way Thingy was fangirling when she met him. Saoirse Ronan's character.
Again, that was so
Stalker.
funny.
Yeah, she was like.
And she just lets out that giggle.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, because like as a girl, you pure know that if you were to have to go in and have a serious conversation with somebody like that, that would be your reaction. Like you know the star, you would have that reaction to.
Yeah.
Like that is really funny.
Yeah.
Really, really funny.
Yeah, but I think what I love when a movie does this, when being like a reviewer, critic, whatever, and being kind of me and a bit, you always sound negative and
Yep.
jaded and all the rest of it. I will admit, I do sometimes kind of preemptively make up my mind on how I'm going to feel about a movie. I go into it expecting this is going to suck, this is going to be good, this is going to. Do you know what I mean? I do have those preconceived notions, which is probably not a good way to go into a movie, but I can't help it. It's just the way my kind of brain works. I love when a movie like this comes along though, and I expect this to be decent, and it'd be really good and blow the expectations that you had. The kind of cynical like, this will be alright, but I've kind of seen it before. And it's like, yes, you've seen it before, but it's great and it's worth watching, and it's worth watching again. Like, out of the 4 movies we're going to speak about in this episode, this is the one for me I would watch just now, like after we've finished recording.
I could watch it.
I could watch this over and over. I think this is the kind of movie that, I don't know, there's just, not even because there's like that much to it in terms of like seeing new stuff, but just because of what is there is so good and so entertaining and so funny and whatever, that you just want to experience it again.
This for me, like, I like showing people movies.
Yeah.
So this for me is a movie that I would like to sit down and watch someone else watch.
I do feel like this is going to be quite an underrated movie because I've not heard that many people speaking about it. So I think this could be a movie that in 5 years' time you could show someone and they're like, I haven't even heard of that, and it's kind of like a hidden gem. Like I can see I can see this going on to be that kind of movie, which is a shame because it would be good to take more eyes on it because it's a really good film, and I feel like it's kind of going under the radar.
It's so good.
But yeah, it was. Even on the way out of the theatre, like the way to the cinema hall, people were talking and like everybody was kind of surprised, like, oh my god, that was really good.
Yeah,
like,
there was a lot of buzz coming
in,
out of the cinema.
in the hall and stuff, and you don't, out of these 4 movies I don't think that was the case with any of the rest of them.
No, I don't think so either.
So,
and there was like people leaving, they were still quoting it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And be like, oh how funny was Saoirse Ronan. Yeah, like.
That was nice, I like that.
So, I think this movie was just a nice surprise for, even if, like, I did know quite a lot about this movie going in. Well, not a great deal, but I knew it was based on the Mousetrap. I knew that these two were in it, Rockwell and Ronan, and I knew that Adrian Brody was in it.
I
And
didn't know it was based on the Mousetrap.
No, I knew it was, and I knew it was kind of like a wee bit Wes Anderson. Like I sort of had all that going in. Whereas if you went into this with none of that in your head, and then you got this movie, I think you would be very pleasantly surprised by what it was and what it did.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was really good. And everybody was great in it.
What would you rate it?
Oh, we're there already. What would I rate it?
Are we not?
Yeah, no. Kind of the opposite of The Forgiven. I like this movie the more I think about it. So I was probably at an 8 when I seen it, and I might be up at a 9 now. So I'm going to go with a 9.
I'm kind of fighting myself between a 9 and a 10 for this film.
Oh, it's really high.
Because I don't see anything. For me, a 10 has to be, in my mind, a perfect movie. So not, like anything that I would ever change, or anything that I could think could either put in or take away to make it better. I can't see any of that. There's nothing that I could do to put down. I couldn't go to you, oh, this film's great, but this, put it down a score for me. I've got nothing like that, which is what makes me feel like it's a 10, but I don't know why I'm not totally sold on it being a 10 either, which makes me think I should go with 9.
The other thing I think, regardless of just giving it a score out of 10, for me, because this is also a kind of genre movie, and I guess whodunits are somewhat niche nowadays, I have compared this in my head to other recent whodunits.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like the big one I feel like in recent years was Knives Out. And I like Knives Out, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I prefer this to Knives Out. And I prefer this to both of the Kenneth Branagh Poirot movies. To Murder on the Orient Express and
same.
Death on the Nile. I like those movies. I like
Me
The Orient
too.
Express and the Nile, and I like Knives Out. But for me, this is, and Bodies is another whodunit, which, spoilers, I like the movie better than that as well. This is the best whodunit I've seen in a long time.
I would agree with you on that.
In a long time.
Yeah.
And if you're a Wes Anderson fan, I'd say you like this movie. If you like Isle of Dogs and, you know, Life Aquatic and Grand Budapest and all these movies, then you'll probably be a fan. It also shares a lot of the same cast: Saoirse Ronan, Adrian Brody,
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell worked with him. I feel like he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got that vibe. It's got the sort of, I really like the time period it was set in as well, because it was tinged with sadness because it was like Britain after the war, but there was also a nice kind of like goofy, jovial nature to the whole thing. Kind of comedic nature that carried through, and yeah, it was funny. Everybody in it was good. The entire cast was good. It was well directed, and yeah, that's maybe the thing I would put it down a point for. Some of the script was a bit obvious. I don't just mean the killer. I mean like some of the jokes like that one we were talking about. But the cast elevated it.
Yeah, which is why
I feel like the cast are better than the writing in this movie, which is maybe why it loses a point. But that's kind of it's a best of a bad situation. Do you know what I mean? Because if you've got bad writing and a bad cast, then it's just going to fall flat.
I don't think there was bad writing.
No, I'm not. I'm exaggerating this for the sake of making a point. It's not bad writing. There was some writing that could have been better, that I feel like could have also been a lot worse had the cast not been as good as well. I feel like they carried a lot of the weight of that and done a good job of it. So yeah, See How the Run was really good. Good if you want a comedy, good if you want a whodunit, good if you like Wes Anderson. So yeah, it's pretty much an enjoyable time for MD, I think.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
And I would, yeah, as I said out before, I think that's always a good sign of like, kind of what was your favourite or what would you like recommend out of them. This is I can tell you right now, this is the one that I would go and watch again tonight. Out of the four.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's swing round to our last movie, which was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This was a film that we both wanted to see, but I think you wanted to see it more than me.
I definitely want to see it.
Because you like Pete Davidson. I wanted to see it because it was an A24 horror movie, which I'm always interested when they put something out. Like Hereditary is one of my favourite horror movies ever. So whenever
is this the same?
it's the same studio, A24 is like the production studio. Not the same director, not to do with the creative team behind that movie, but the same funding, the same company, that's sort of the same board. Yeah, I'm always interested. This isn't like obviously that at all. This is a totally different vibe. It's not like It Comes at Night was another A24 horror movie. Like it's nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? It's a totally different vibe. Wait, was Christopher Abbott not in It Comes at Night? Was he not the other guy that helps Joanne? Anyway, sorry, that's by the by. It Comes at Night's a good movie. Go and watch that.
That's a very good film.
Spoilers: nothing comes at night. Just spooky atmosphere.
Anyway,
but that's why I liked it. But anyway, let's not go into that. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies it's a movie about a group of millennial teens that are in a big, nice, fancy house, and the power goes out, and one of them is potentially killing the rest of them, picking them off one by one. Scream, Scooby-Doo, you've seen it before, except kinda you haven't, but
except you're not.
We'll get there. I don't want to spoil the twist quite yet. But yeah, I will say, like, if you're still listening to this, I'll go watch the movie before you watch this, because out of these four movies, I think Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was the one that I went into the blindest.
Yeah.
This was the one I had the least idea of. And that's why I feel like I was slightly let down by it.
Oh.
I liked it, ish, but I felt like, do you want to give some thought?
No, there you go. You're on a roll.
I felt like it would be funnier. And I'm not saying that because like the jokes that were there didn't land. There was funny moments in it that landed. I thought there'd be more jokes in the actual script. The tone of the movie was a bit darker and a bit more serious than what you might think it is from the trailers. I thought it would almost be like a laugh a minute, goofy, kind of almost like Scream type comedy.
Yeah. Like
kind of tongue in cheek the whole time. And there is a lot of that, but not as much of it as what you might think. And that's kind of what I was going for.
It didn't have the charm of Scream.
I think that's what kind of lost it. Its charm. I think if it went fully in on that, it might have been. But what did you think? Because this was the one that you kind of wanted to see.
I did that. I wanted to see this film. I'm a massive Pete Davidson fan. I love Pete Davidson. I think he's hilarious. And it just looked like I like trash films. Trash films are possibly one of my favourite genres of film. Like I give them their own genre of just being really good garbage.
But So I think that was this movie's problem. I don't think it committed to being a trashy film. I think it was
Really?
trying to be slightly artsy at certain points, and if it had went full trashy, like let's be honest, Scream's a trashy movie.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it great. And I feel like
Sorry, no.
this movie doesn't follow through on that. That was my issue. I went looking for like because also the
So
millennials.
whereabouts?
Whereabouts what?
Like whereabouts? Like what? Like where's the artsiness of it for you?
Just a lot of the use of the lights. Mostly to do with the lighting, to be honest. With the way it was lit and the way it was shot, and the way that the audio was used, it felt a bit more highbrow than Scream or dumb horror movies like that. And I feel like if it went proper campy, silly, over the top, it might have
I agree. It
landed
wasn't
a bit
quite.
better for me.
It was still silly for me, and it was still.
Yeah.
It still gave those kind of sorority row kind of vibes. And
I can give you another example actually. I thought of.
uh-huh.
So in the trailer, there's a scene where spoilers for the movie. There's a scene in the trailer where someone looks at the camera and goes, "Oh my God, you just shot me!" And then the other person says, "I can't believe you're making this about you." And I thought in the trailer that was going to be the tone of this movie, like literally something about shots. I'd be like, "Hell, you've been shot, so what?"
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, there were two totally different scenes.
Yeah.
Totally separate scenes.
I got that in the trailer though.
But no, I didn't. I thought that was, well, not necessarily that I was going to be the same, but I thought at least that would convey the tone. But the movie never goes as goofy as that, as somebody gets shot and be like, "I can't believe you're making that about you."
Fair
Whereas
enough.
that's what
Yeah,
it's sold
I
as.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
And that's what was missing for me. I was expecting it to be proper balls out, dumb
Yeah.
teen movie, and it never quite got there.
Okay.
Also, Pete Davidson was like way older than he was meant to be in the movie. He was meant to be like, I don't know, like what, 17, 18, and he's like 30.
Nah, they're meant to be like 21. They're in college.
I don't know. He looked like, and then why was Lee Pace like high out on his lanes? That was weird.
The Greg character.
Yeah.
Because he's going with one of them. He was supposed to be weird.
I
That was
don't know.
supposed to be weird.
I know. But like that's that's the baddie for Guardians of the Galaxy, the blue guy in Guardians and stuff. He's been in movies for years.
I recognised him, but I couldn't tell.
But yeah, I don't know. He was interesting. And a bit creepy. He was in the Hobbit movies.
Oh, he's in Captain America. I know who he is now. No, I thought. Thingy, who else? What was her name?
I thought the cast were good for the most part. I never found the characters as endearing as I keep comparing it to Scream because that's kind of what I was going for. I knew it was going to be like millennials on their phones, Twitter and all that, but I thought it would be like millennial Zoomer Scream. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting these characters to have a charm to them, which I don't think that they had. They weren't as memorable. Like they won't. Do you want to know something that kind of has a bit of a tell? The only ones I remember the names of were the ones that really annoyed me.
Okay.
In fact, only really one I remember. Jordan. Jordan was a bitch. I went to Jordan to die for the moment she came into the movie.
What is her name? Maya Herod?
Is that the actor's name?
Yeah, I thought she done a really good job actually.
I'm no happy
She's
actor,
supposed to be really
but the
annoying.
character, like, oh my god,
They are all supposed to be
so,
insufferable.
like, yeah, I know, but
The whole,
some more than others.
for me, the whole point of this film, I thought, I kind of went in thinking that, like in Sorority Row, how you kind of want Cassie to stay alive, blah blah blah. I kind of thought we were going to have that. I thought we were going to have, like, your Sophie and B, and you were going to want them to live, and that's fine. But then I went in and I was like, oh, right, no, you're supposed to want all of them to die. Like, and then I thought, right, maybe there's not going to be...
Well,
maybe they are. I kind of thought at one point maybe they are all going to die.
Maria Bakalova's character was the most not a douche.
But she still was a wee bit, but... She was still
She
a
was
bit of a
a
dick.
she was a bit unhinged, and she was kind of a bit of a liar, but she wasn't like
She was still
annoying.
a bit of a dick.
I don't know. I think for me she was the audience surrogate. She was the one that you were meant to. She was the main one. Like she was the Sidney Prescott.
Sophie was the Sidney Prescott.
Nah, Sophie was nah.
Sophie was the Sidney Prescott, definitely.
But you
She's
found
the
out that
one
Sophie
that's
cheated
brought
and
all
stuff
the
with Jordan.
drama. Yeah, but Sidney Prescott's not necessarily a phenomenal person.
I don't know. Nah, I'd say that what was her name? B was the main character.
So what? Sophie's like a Gale?
I guess, yeah.
Like a Gale
She was a side character, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
no, so I kind of thought at a certain point in this film, I was like, oh, maybe just all of them are going to die. Because you kind of, I wouldn't have minded if all of
Yeah,
them
no, they
died.
could have totally done that, yeah.
And then, spoilers, they didn't. But I thought, you know, his death... Right, so I enjoyed this film. I thought the deaths were pretty decent. Not quite as good as like your Serenity Row or whatever. There wasn't really one as inventive as the bottle smashing into her throat. There was some that kind of were a bit lackluster.
Yeah,
but
some of the kills were a bit, yeah.
The most
Could've been better.
lackluster kill for me was Jordan's. When she
Shoot
just
over the side of the...
falls and lands on the table. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you would maybe be really injured by that, but would that kill you?
They should have showed like a big bit of glass.
Yeah, or like her head
something.
smacking off the stair or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Something.
To
But I
make
thought
sure like she's dead, yeah.
when she said like read her texts, I was like, she's still in real life. She's
Uh-huh.
not gonna be dead. And then they walked by her later and she was
She's
dead.
still lying there,
And I was
yeah.
like,
I mean, in real life
Oh.
that fall would kill you, but in this movie, it's not very
it just
clear
seemed a bit
whether...
easy.
Yeah,
Seemed a bit easy.
yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't know if I'd say that's the tamest death, but yeah.
It was the most lackluster one for me.
Mm,
I expected a lot more out of it than I got.
mm.
It wasn't the tamest. I mean, there was one you didn't even see where she gets shot in the head, and you
Yeah.
don't even see that because
There was so many points, so like, when I was like, God, just hurry up, do something. Like, see when Jordan was coming up the stairs, pointing the gun at Sophie, and Sophie was like, back, or was it the other way around? And someone was like, back off, and the other one kept coming. It was Jordan was pointing the gun at Sophie, and that went on for so, and I was like, going to just either shoot her or try and grab the gun after her. Like, do something like that. See, went on for like 10 minutes, like,
it was a bit
I'm going to shoot you. No, you're not. Just calm down. No, I'm going to shoot you. No, no, no. Back away. Like, for like 10 minutes straight. And I was
That
like,
was
going
long.
to just do something. Like, stuff like that was a bit, I felt like a bit dragged out.
The most annoying character for me was Alice,
Alice.
the one that got shot in the head.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, she was a
Oh
nightmare.
my god.
Her and Jordan were the worst.
No, I disagree. I think it was her and that Emma.
Emma was annoying too.
She was
They were all annoying. But, no, Alice and Jordan were the absolute worst.
Pete Davidson
Emma
was the best
annoying.
character for me because I just thought it was really funny and just you could tell that Pete was just having such a fun time.
He was quite funny, but like I said going in, I knew he was going to be the first one killed. Because they couldn't make him the killer. Well, technically, I guess we'll get there. We'll get to this first in a second to explain what we're reading. Although, yeah, they could make him the killer because they even pointed out the trailer, it would be so obvious if I was a killer. It would be so obvious if he was a killer because he's like the kind of big name.
The most famous one.
But if you're in a movie like this and you're that kind of actor, you're either going to be the killer or you're going to be the first one to die. And he was the first one to die. So the twist is, it's quite funny how it all stems from Lee Pace's character because David, which is Pete Davidson's character, is super jealous of Lee Pace because he's this kind of like older, ripped guy that they think's being military, but it turns out he hasn't really. He was a vet, as in like animals, and not a vet as in like going abroad and fighting.
And they all think that he's like so dangerous and so unhinged.
But he's this big kind of like handsome,
And he's just this big
muscular,
humanitarian.
Yeah, happy kind of like wears a sleep mask and stuff.
He's like mask and he's
Yeah.
like, and he came down to do
To do yoga,
stretches.
yeah. So he's got a bottle of champagne, which is like Pete Davidson doesn't want to be open because it's this expensive bottle of his dad's, and he's like, that's a party, and he uses this again expensive sword that he just finds on the wall to like chop the top of the bottle off, and all the girls are like, oh, and then Pete Davidson's like, it's not that impressive. So then later on, even though there's a storm outside, Pete Davidson goes back outside to get the sword, and he tries it himself and records it, and ends up
He records it for TikTok.
yeah, and then he ends up he cuts his own throat. So like that's the first kill of the movie is Pete Davidson waddling towards the plain glass window with his
His
throat
throat
open,
cut,
being
and everyone's like,
"Help!"
oh, who's killed him, who's killed him?
And
And
it
then you
turns out
find
it
out at
was
the end that it was him.
What I liked about the twist, I feel like it was a commentary on, I feel like online especially, our generation and like the generations under us always get accused of like making them out of a molehill and making a big deal out of nothing. And that's kind of what this twist
And
is.
always being on their phones.
Yeah.
And doing anything for TikTok.
Yeah. But the thing about like blowing everything out of proportion, that was the whole twist of this
Yeah.
movie. Like they're all like immediately they all go to like there's a killer in here. Even though they might be pals, it's like you're trying to kill us. Like they all turn on each other like that, and yet it was just him being an arse on his phone, and nobody like even considers that until the movie's over, basically. So I think that was quite a good commentary on that, on like how like young people blow up in that proportion.
Yeah. It was very.
It was
funny.
both funny and it kind of worked out for the message of this movie, I think. Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the movie, I think, was that twist and that whole kind of setup.
I enjoyed it. I like the trashiness of it. I like the trashiness of the soundtrack. Like,
I hated the soundtrack.
I loved the soundtrack because it just brought me right back
Do you
to
know what?
being like.
I hated the soundtrack because I don't like that type of music, but for this movie, yes, it worked. It did work for the context of the film. Yeah, 100%.
It made me want to go and have a party with my friends, and one of us try and kill everyone.
Yeah, but I don't know, they were so, like, obviously again, you know, they've said this, they're meant to be annoying, they're meant to be insufferable, but see like the game they play where they do the shots and they have to slap each other on the face really hard, it's like, aye, that's not going to lead to a fallout between a young group of friends, like, obviously that was, do you know what I mean, it's such a toxic, like, horrible idea to do, but because they're dumb kids they do it, and it's...
Have you ever played it yet?
It's kind of got that, no, I don't think so.
Have you ever played it
No,
yet?
have you?
I've played it
That's disappointing.
I mean, not since I was like 14. But yeah, I've played that game.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a good movie, but I felt like it should have went more into the kind of made the characters a bit more, not even likeable. They can be like obnoxious arseholes, but give us more comedy. Just
There was more justice. Like,
yeah.
and I mean, I keep coming back to Strike Road and comparing it to that, but that's kind of the closest comparison that I have. That's what I was going and expecting, was that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And you've got your really horrible, insufferable characters in that, like Jessica and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But they have a really good, satisfying death where you're like, yes, get her.
And then, like, compared to the Scream, like, okay, I'm saying that Maria Bakalova's character was the most like Sidney Prescott, and I guess in Scream, Sidney Prescott's the most serious character. She's the less kind of goofy parody character.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's a bad day. Sidney Prescott's not my favourite character in Scream. I feel like it's a bad day when, probably by default, the favourite character, other than Pete Davidson, is probably Maria Bakalova's character, because she was the only one that I didn't find insufferably annoying. She wasn't anything. She was only the best by default because the rest of them were so annoying. Whereas like Scream, like you had like Randy and Dewey and all these characters that were like likeable because of the way they were, and not because the other characters were more annoying. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. There wasn't really any that I was like, I'd really like to see that character in another. Like if they made a sequel, I don't want to see a sequel with these characters. Like I don't want to see any sequel again. Like they're all.
It
the
would
worst.
be hard because all of them except for 2 are dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I did think at the end that either B or Sophie was going to die. But that was also the point, so just if we're going full spoilers and we're like deep in at this point, when, after Jordan died, I sort of felt stupidly, oh, they can breathe a sigh of relief, that's like the danger gone. Like Jordan was an arse and she was waving that gun about, but now she's dead. These two are a couple, they might be in a relationship, and okay.
Only for 2 weeks.
Okay, she said check her texts, but I was like, any response would be like, right, let's go and like have a conversation.
No, because she
But
found
instead-
Jordan's pants in her car.
Yeah, I know. But instead of going and just like having a discussion, they have to start like trying to kill each other again. Like, thingy, B runs away and Sophie's looking for her through the house, and it's as if Sophie's going to kill B, and it's like, what? Like these, I don't feel like that suited these type of characters. I feel like now that all the kind of
Oh,
the
no,
characters
I-
that would do
I
that type of thing
disagree.
are all dead.
No.
Kind of like the grown-ups are the ones
But
left.
no,
that
Sophie's
still
supposed
kept going.
to. Sophie's the one that's the most unhinged.
Mm.
And
They say that, but they never really showed that.
I think
I don't think-
that's the point. I think that's the full point. They've only been together for 2 weeks, so she doesn't actually know. She
Uh-huh.
doesn't even know she went to
Sure,
rehab.
sure.
So she doesn't actually know fully what she's capable
Okay,
of.
yeah.
She's meant to be the most unhinged. She's actually the one that's went and took care of herself, and all the rest of them are the ones that are most unhinged. And they can't accept that because they can't accept the help. So that's why they make B doubt who she is.
Right.
And because they've only been together for 2 weeks, they're meant to be, what, like 17-year-old wee girls. They don't know what each other's capable of, so you would still run away for that. Like, it's not as if they've been together for, like, months or years. They've only known each other for 5 minutes.
No, but...
And she's seen films like Get Out, where there's been couples that have been together for years and then they take them to houses and they die.
I feel the characters in this movie they all go from like 0 to 100 really fast. Like as soon as there's even
Do.
yeah, let me finish my point. As soon as they even know that there is a killer, they just all presume there's a killer, and they all end up killing each other because they think there might be a killer. Like they all end up like turning on each other and killing each other and fighting, and like even the character that I'm saying that's the most likeable kills Lee Pace, who did nothing wrong.
She killed a nice humanitarian bit. And
Like,
she was the first person to kill anyone.
yeah, like they all just start killing each other, and it's like that was one kind of unrealistic for me, but two, it was like, okay, so that's kind of the way this movie's going to go. But I don't know, I just feel like once Jordan died, that should be the end of that kind of vibe. For her to then just start presuming that she was going to try and kill her, it felt a bit, I don't know, like, oh, this is a dumb movie. Like, it didn't feel like real people, like real characters in that situation. I don't know, I feel like just a more level-headed conversation between the two would have, and then maybe someone of them says something that's like, oh my god, you're actually going to try and kill me, or shit, I'm going to try and kill you. Like, if they'd done that in a conversation, then turned it back up to like cat and mouse chasing you about the house with a knife kind of thing. But the fact that they just go right into that without any conversation, I was like...
So there was the bit of a conversation. There's the bit of the conversation where she knows that she's slept with Jordan because she's found the pants in her car.
Right.
And she turns around and says, right, it's done now, like, honestly tell me. She goes, no, I would never let you. You know I've not done this.
Uh-huh.
And she knows she has done this. So she's turned around and said that to her face. And then it's when she goes to touch her.
Uh-huh.
And she's like... And then she's like, no, I don't trust this person.
But I still...
And then she runs away.
I feel like though that scene, to me, was teenagers being over dramatic rather than a justified reason to do the off.
But again, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
The whole thing is about teenagers being over dramatic.
Yeah, I guess. Shall we score it?
Yeah.
So, being the person that went to see the film, did it live up to what you thought it would be?
It was a good time. It wasn't up to the way I thought it was going to be, no. I would probably score this about a 7. Maybe a 6. No, a 7. I'm at a comfortable 7. Because it was a good time. It was fine. It was funny and trashy. And Pete Davidson was very funny in it, and he's the reason that I went to see it. And yeah, it was fine. It was a comfortable 7 for me. I wouldn't rush back to see it again, but it also wasn't my least favourite movie that we've seen.
Right. It was my least favourite movie that we've seen out of the 4. I think I'm between a 5 and a 6. I think I'm on a 6 just because, like I said, even though it didn't, I feel like it would have done better to lean into the kind of trashy side of like teen horror. It didn't do that, but the things it didn't do, I did quite like. Like I liked, even though I didn't like the soundtrack, I felt like it went well with what was on screen, and I liked the way the movie looked for the most part. Yeah, so that kind of, for me, like the kind of technical aspects probably bring it up to a 6 for me. So I'm going to say it's a 6. So let's recap. What was your favourite of the 4?
The Forgiven.
Forgiven was your favourite of the 4.
Yeah.
So I think you maybe, which is good. Quite different answers this week. For me, See How They Run was my favourite. Like I said, if I had to go and watch one tonight, it would be that. So See How They Run was my favourite. What was your least favourite?
3,000 Years Alone.
And my least favourite was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. So there you go. It's totally different answers.
For me, it would go The Forgiven, See How They Run, Bodies, and then 3,000.
Right. For me, See How They Run, The Forgiven, 3,000 Years, and then Bodies at the bottom. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
For you? No, not at all. I knew before we went to see that film that would be your least favourite film.
But I wanted to see it because even though, like, looking at the trailer, yes, like, anyone knows me might think, oh, he's going to hate this. But I sort of, not only did I want to be proven wrong, I do think you should challenge yourself with cinema. And again, because it had the A24 logo on it, I was like, do you know what, this might be more than what
I was
is
very
shown in the
surprised
trailer.
when you turned around to say that you were happy to go and see it. I thought that was when I was going to go see like Angelina or something.
No, I wanted to see it to make up my own mind. And I'm glad we did see it because, like I said, it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, me too.
It just could have been better. And the same with 3,000 Years Alone. Good movie, but could have been better.
I agree. And then the other two
The
were
other two were really good.
almost
So
perfect
if
films.
you're there's a takeaway, if you're not seeing, for some reason, if you've listened to this and you've not seen any of them, I would say, and you've only got the time to watch two of them, go and watch See How They Run and The Forgiven. Those are more worth your time, I'd say. And also, if you go and watch those two like back to back, you'll get two very different experiences, which is
Yeah.
always good.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, anything else about any of these films?
No, I was just kind of thinking, just along the lines of trashy movies. Like last time, obviously we spoke about The Invitation, and I loved that film because
See,
of
that
how
was
trashy it was.
that was the movie that Bodies should have been. If you know what I mean, it should have went
Yeah.
more that direction.
So comparing those two, I would maybe put Bodies at the bottom of my list, but for just comparing these four, then no, Bodies doesn't go at the bottom.
Yeah, no. If I was guessing your list, I would have put 3,000 Years at the bottom of yours as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week or maybe a fortnight. Next time we're on, we'll probably be speaking about Marilyn, or Blonde as it's called, and we will also be speaking about Don't Worry Darling, possibly.
Yep.
And there's a David Bowie movie coming out called Minnie's Daydream that I really want to see. So yeah, we'll be back at some point to talk about more films. So that'll be good. And until then, subscribe. Stay tuned to the channel. There'll be an episode of Pop Shock up this week. I don't know if this will go up first or that will go up first, but both this and Pop Shock will go up this week. Subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes and all your podcatchers, and drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought of these films. And if you have a recommendation, we've not really done this yet, but if you want us to watch something, even though we've got like a backlist of stuff to go through, we'll happily throw in like an extra film or two if anybody wants to recommend something. So cheers for watching, all the best. I've been Dan, this has been the lovely Courtney, and we will be we'll be back again. What? That was sincere.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.